had these conversations with ladies, some were in my office and they were in tears. They, came up with a divorce that was unexpected. They had a spouse that was unexpected passing. And their husband took care of the finances, and they didn't understand. They didn't know what to do. They were embarrassed. They were shame. They felt shame. And I'm like, no, we never learned this in school. We didn't learn it at home. There's no reason to feel this way. And I honored how they were feeling. I wasn't like, don't feel that way. It was just, I was honoring what they were feeling. But, I don't know how to speak Italian. It doesn't mean that I'm, any less intelligent. I just don't speak Italian because I never learned it. Right.
Right.
One of the things I would like to, but that's a whole other story. But the point is that I just had so many of these conversations with ladies, and I was just felt in my heart that I wanted to make a deeper impact with that demographic.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Welcome, Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another amazing episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. This week, we have none other than Patti Handy. Patti, you got to tell us all about who you are and what you are up to.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Patti Handy, and I am a financial coach for divorced, widowed, and single women. I'm a former financial advisor and former mortgage advisor, spent many years in those roles, and had so many conversations with ladies about money and investing and just starting over, and found that there was a gap in knowledge. There was a lot of overwhelm and fear. And I decided to take more of a teacher role and coaching role, which is how I pivoted. And it's a little scary. I did this late in the game as far as age goes, but you know what? It's only a number, so I'm good.
Yes, indeed. Listen, it doesn't matter. It's funny because that you say that, because the closer I get to 50, I'm like, long time ago, I thought it was such a far distance away, but now it's like right around the corner. It's like, okay. And you know what? We're constantly reinventing ourselves, and it's okay. That's totally okay, because that is a sign of maturity, in my opinion. The fact that you can step out of fear and reinvent yourself no matter what.
Absolutely. I think it's really making that decision and having that intention of wanting to make a difference, do something that, fuels your heart. That was a hard word to get out of my mouth. Fuels your heart and just excites you. And for me, and I'll divulge, I'm actually 62. And
well, you don't look it, girl. That's so you know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. My friends are thinking about Medicare, and I'm like, no. I mean, okay, Medicare, fine, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sit in my house all day and, eat bonbons and watch TV, right? That's just a bad way to go through life. So, anyways,
that's fantastic.
Pivoted.
So, have you found that your decision to, do it anyway, despite the fear, has influenced those in your circle?
It has. I've had a couple friends call me ballsy.
Nice. Like, okay, I love it. I love it.
That's okay. I think, I've had a few tell me, gosh, you're an inspiration. That's great. And, that's all lovely. I mean, who doesn't love, a little admiration here and there, a little love, that's all good. But really it is, it's a legacy play. It's something that I want to leave the world a better place. I've got a son. We got divorced. My ex and I got divorced when he was 18 months old, and he's now almost 27. So it's been a very long time. And I've been, full-time mom, and wearing many hats during that journey of, being a mom and taking care of the house, taking care of him, obviously, which was number one, and finances and life. And, you're going in 20 directions. And I had him the majority of the time. So I was oftentimes playing dad as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think I hope I inspire him, and I hope I inspire others to step out of that comfortable safety zone and do what you want to do.
Love it. So I
Yeah.
love that you shared that, because now I would love it if you shared more about what happened. Like, how did you feel? How were you able to essentially take your toddler? Well, I guess, yeah, that's toddler age, to take your toddler and assume this role now of that you weren't before, like previous to the divorce. Can you
Yeah,
share a little bit about that?
yeah, sure. It was a journey, and there were certainly bad days and there were good days. It's not a linear straight line to healing, and you go through all kinds of transformations. I truly think I'm a better person at the other side of divorce. And I know that it has taught me a lot. It has made me a better person. Prior to having my son, I was in corporate banking and finance, and that was my, role before I had my son. And we were trying for 5 years, finally had him by in vitro. And then, like I said, at 18 months, we got divorced. And I was just at this place where I'm like, I'm not going to go back to my full-time job. I worked way too hard for this baby. I love him to pieces. I don't want to put him in daycare. He already lost a dad full-time. He's not going to lose a mom full-time. So I was determined to figure out a way to, make this happen. And the mortgage industry allowed me to work at home. It allowed me to work on my own hours. It allowed me a lot of flexibility. It was scary because it was all commission. There was no salary. There was no guarantees. Yeah. So I worked my, I'm not sure I can cuss on the air, but
your ass off. I know you can say, girl.
I worked my ass off. So
that's right.
Yeah, and it was just a juggle. It was one day at a time, and I had an amazing support system. I have, a great, sisters and brothers, and my parents at the time were incredibly helpful, and friends that were supportive. My faith held me kind of just moving forward. So I just, one step at a time. And when I had a bad day, I allowed myself to cry and be miserable and scream in a pillow and do what I had to do. And then I picked myself up and just, my why was my baby, and my why kept me going. And those days that I wanted to stay in bed with my head, buried in my pillow, it's not an option. It's like, get up, take care of your son and take him to school, or do whatever had to, get done. And you know what? I like I said, it's been a journey. I have had a beautiful time raising him. He's an amazing son. He turned out beautifully. He's a compassionate, loving, kind human being, and very, very proud of him. So I'm, would I have done it differently? I would not have done it differently in the sense of like going back to work or anything of that nature. So as a result of doing that, there was some financial hardships along the way. And even though I knew investing and I was comfortable managing money and all that, I did some stupid things because I was desperate. It was like, okay, I'm going to invest in this because this was going to give me a quick return, and those were stupid things. And I knew better. But, when you're emotionally distraught and you're trying to just tread water, you do silly things sometimes. And it's okay. I give myself grace, and I learn from my mistakes, and I pick myself up, and I move forward. So
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so what does your son do? Is he also in finance or no?
No, I try. He's actually in law enforcement.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. No, that's great. That is great.
Yeah.
No, that is always seeing the fruit of your labor is always nice. Because I mean, like you said, I love that you said that you gave yourself grace. I think that a lot of times when you're on a difficult journey, you don't give yourself grace. You don't give yourself that opportunity to scream into the pillow or to like just cry or just to let out the emotions. It's so easy for people on the outside to say, oh, you're doing it all, you're a super woman, et cetera, not realizing that, as you said, you have those days when you have to pull on your why. You have to look at his face or think about his image to really press on. And their days are not always fantastic. So thank you for sharing that, because
Absolutely.
that keeps it real.
Yeah, no, I mean, gosh, the number of days that I went into my closet and closed the door and just, cried so he wouldn't hear me. And the number of days I would sit in my backyard and just stare into the sky when he was with his dad and had the house to myself. I was just, I mean, it was not easy. I have to, I'll just admit it. It was not easy. And any single parent out there knows what I'm talking about. It's just, you want to give your son or your kids, I should say, everything that you can. And yet you've got to get things done. You've got to
Yes.
work and pay the bills and go to the store and do all that stuff. But he hopefully learned by watching mom do this, and was able to gain some wisdom from it. Although I'll tell you a little funny story. Whenever I try to teach him like little life lessons, like I'll say, okay, remember, and I'll explain like certain things that, are little life lessons. And he's like, Mom, no more life lessons. I'm like, honey, but these are things that you need. And I think I just fire hose him with life lessons, and it's like, kind of done.
No more
it's
life
like,
lessons. I'm done.
It's like,
I'm capped.
enough. Yeah. So poor thing. I
so
think
funny.
I was hosing him too much, but it's okay.
It
When he
sounds
has
like
it,
he
I keep
turned out
telling him.
well, so it worked.
Yeah, he did turn out well. And he's going to have more appreciation when he has his own kids. I keep telling him that.
Yes.
I go, you wait till you have your own kids. Yeah, you'll know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. You'll know.
Oh yeah. I'll be like,
So.
man, all those things mom said were right. She was right
Yeah.
on. Oh my
Oh
gosh,
gosh.
that's so awesome. And then so this whole time, you were you had the capacity to work from home, which is phenomenal, by the way. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't have that. And I feel like that can actually make the difference between how your kid is. You're able to actually give him those life lessons and pour into him on a more regular basis, which is a huge, huge, huge gift. And so, despite the bad days, so worth it still, right?
Yeah.
And so I just wondered, how long did you stay in the previous situation with the company that allowed you to work from home? And then what prompted you, to kind of branch off on your own? Because essentially your coaching is your own entity, right? This is your entrepreneurship pursuit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how did that transition happen? And was there fear involved in that?
So I did the mortgage industry in itself. I was in about 17 years, and that allowed me. I was with a couple different companies because there were some companies that closed in the mortgage, meltdown and different things that were happening in the world. But all those jobs allowed me to work at home, which was kind of rare back then. Now it's, everybody's working at home, but back then, it was pre-COVID, obviously, and we didn't have that as often. But when my son got into kindergarten and then in school, I would go in the office for a couple hours when he was in school and kind of worked around that schedule. And I really enjoyed it. It was it did the job. I made a decent income. I had medical benefits, and I was able to do what I wanted when I wanted and take care of him, and took him to every sporting event and took him to every, whatever we had to do. So it was cool. Then I decided that I wanted to get into financial planning, which was something I always have on my heart. And I went and got my licenses and did all that stuff and got into financial. I went with a small boutique firm and was a financial advisor for about 3.5 years. And I decided to pivot into financial advisory work because I found that the mortgage industry, as wonderful as it was very transactional. And I wanted a deeper relationship with my clients. And as a financial advisor, you have a deep relationship with your clients. Obviously, you meet with them regularly and you know their intimate life and you know their story, and it becomes a whole different level of getting to know people. And then as I transitioned from financial advisory role to financial coaching, which I'm doing now, and I did that again, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, the drive with that was primarily because I had these conversations with ladies, some were in my office and they were in tears. They came up with a divorce that was unexpected. They had a spouse that was unexpected passing, and their husband took care of the finances, and they didn't understand. They didn't know what to do. They were embarrassed. They were shame. They felt shame. And I'm like, no, we never learned this in school. We didn't learn it at home. There's no reason to feel this way. And I honored how they were feeling. I wasn't like, don't feel that way. It was just I was honoring what they were feeling. But I don't know how to speak Italian. It doesn't mean that I'm any less intelligent. I just don't speak Italian because I never learned it. Right.
Right.
One of the things I would like to, but that's a whole other story. But the point is that I just had so many of these conversations with ladies, and I was just felt in my heart that I wanted to make a deeper impact with that demographic and be more education. As a financial advisor, we basically maintained the funds, and we did a lot of tax planning and strategies and whatnot, but there was not a lot of education and life coaching that helped them through the transition. There wasn't a lot of behavioral coaching. And that's what I do as a financial coach. So it's a combination of teaching of things. Like one of my modules in my Minding Her Money program is about it's called Badass Investing, and it's about investing and the lingo that you'll hear, and I talk about the questions you want to ask if you are going to hire a financial advisor and what to be mindful of. And then there's the coaching piece, which is understanding their story and helping them through whatever they're challenged with. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And if they want to invest themselves, they can do it themselves. And if they want to hire an advisor, they can do that too.
That's awesome.
So,
that is like such a thing that is just very overlooked, it's just, you just assume that things are going to be taken care of, and then something happens and it's not, and then you're stuck. So it's like, it's almost like we need to tell our children as well that they need to be thinking about these things. And it's one of those things that we just do not discuss. Money is usually something that's not really discussed in families most times. And then as a result, you kind of are behind the ball game. So I'm so glad that you are doing this work, because I think it is so important. And, it's just another arm in the literacy, the financial literacy arena. And it's a nice one because it's one that benefits, women. And so I appreciate your work for sure. For sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm with you about teaching the kids. My very first book that I wrote was called How to Ditch Your Allowance and Be Richer Than Your Parents. And it was all about teaching high schoolers and young 20-somethings about money and just, basic financial literacy. And I did a lot of things at schools and did some workshops for kids. And it was a huge gap. And finally, I'm finding now that there's a lot of schools in different parts of the country that are including financial literacy in their curriculum. Finally, it's like,
yes,
okay, this is so overdue, but yay.
Yes.
This is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think the extent of what I learned when I was in school in the United States was that I learned how to write a check, which I thought, because in your home economics class you learn how to write a check, and you learn how to balance the checkbook, but that's it, which is great. I feel like it's great. I feel like my children don't really know how to write a check now because everything is electronically paid. But it's still a good exercise to go through. So, learning the terms, basic terms, understanding basic things like interest and compound interest, I think is something that we all should be aware of, because it affects us. We go to buy a car, it affects us. We buy a house, it affects us. You get a credit card, it affects you. So, if you're not smart about it, then you can't ditch your allowance and be richer than your parents, right? So it's great.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of compound interest, I remember showing one of my son's friends a compounding example of okay, if you put this much money in and then you put in this much money every month, by the time you retire, you're going to have this much. And the comment out of her mouth was just priceless. She says, "How is that legal?"
Oh, wow.
And I just thought, oh, God, that's adorable. But I said, okay, this is the money that you've actually put out of your own pocket. And this is the money that it's now worth. And the difference is your money working for you, not you
Right.
working for your money. And this is the power of starting early. This is the power of compounding. And it's not like you've got to put in thousands of dollars every month. You can start with 20 bucks a month. You can start with anything, but get in that habit of just doing this every single month and doing it automatically. And I tell that to adults as well, have an
Absolutely.
automatic investment plan. And yeah, but it was priceless. She's like, how's that legal?
That's great. That's great.
I loved it. Yeah.
That is great. No, I love that. I feel like I do have a special place in my heart for investments and making passive income. So that's why I'm like even more excited about the work that you're doing.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all good.
Oh,
Girl
that's so
power.
awesome. All right. And so tell us now, if somebody mentioned a book, right? So if someone is looking to, have an entree piece of literature for their child or young adult, they can go and grab that, right? So can you tell us the title again?
So the first book is How to Ditch Your Allowance and Be Richer Than Your Parents, and you can
Okay.
find that on Amazon. However, I did rewrite it and update it,
Okay.
and it's called Money Rules 101. Master Your Money Before It Masters You, and that's also on Amazon. So if you
Okay.
just look up, yeah, Patti Handy books, Patty's with an I, Handy's with a Y, it'll pop up. But the Money Rules 101 is more current and it was updated. So that's probably the book I would say to purchase, because it's more current. So
Nice.
that
Nice.
that would be that.
And if they're interested in working with you or participating in your coaching program, how would they go about that?
So my website is pattyhandy.com. So pattihandy.com. And you'll click on the Minding Her Money link. Minding Her Money is the name of my program. And it'll show you the roadmap of the areas that I cover. And it's everything from self-care to your money mindset, understanding your limiting beliefs around money, getting organized. We definitely talk about credit. We talk about debit and savings and spending habits. We talk about investing. There's 2 modules about investing, tax planning and tax strategies, retirement planning and leaving a legacy. What am I forgetting? There's something else, but it's a very comprehensive program. It's a 90-day group coaching program where we meet every week live, and you get to be in the hot seat if you prefer, or be in the background if you prefer. And there's an opportunity to have one-on-ones with me as well. So it's a very comprehensive coaching program, and I'm super excited about it.
It sounds great. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. No,
thank
that's
you.
great. And then so they just go to the website and then go to Minding Her Money, and that will give you the roadmap. Fantastic.
Yep, download the
Fantastic.
roadmap and then book a call with me. And I'm going to be doing some live coaching here coming up in the next few weeks. So if you just get on the email list, you'll have some updates with what I'm
Okay.
doing.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
So
then, so I'm curious now. So it's been how many years that you've gone out on your own? How many years has it been?
I just launched my Minding Her Money program last month. So
Oh, so
I'm
it's
brand
fresh.
it's brand spanking new. Yeah, I actually
Okay.
gave notice to my firm in January, and my the owner of the company asked me to stay on for a couple months as we transitioned my clients over to a different advisor. So I left
Right.
late April, and I was kind of building and launching while I was still there, which he allowed me to do, which was very nice. So yeah, it's very fresh, very new, and so it's just getting ramped. So we are in the early fresh stages.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we do have some early adopters in our bunch. So there.
It's all about, like I said at the top, being brave enough and courageous enough to really decide what you want in life.
Yes.
What is it you want to do? Make that clear definition and the intention just crystal clear, and then just do it and know that you're, without getting too into the manifestation piece of it, but you're a co-creator. It isn't just everything's on you. You've
Yeah.
got, whether it's God, universe, whatever you think and believe in, you're a co-creator to this. And so um, you don't need to do the heavy lifting. You just got to take inspired action.
Love that. Inspired action. I like that. And so you have to tell us, was there fear involved in this stepping out of the comfort zone?
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I left a job with a good income and benefits, and I'm jumping out to, self medical insurance, and no paycheck until I start to, launch this. but I have a true sense of being in alignment, and I know that as I reach women and they find me and they go through my program, I know the transformation they're going to experience. I know they'll come out the other side going, "Oh my goodness, where were you 10 years ago?" And or longer. And I feel great about that. So I'm willing to step into that fear and just do it anyways. And that's what,
Love it.
sometimes we just do it afraid.
Yes, we do. And it works out great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Wow. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm glad that you are, I mean, you've had some practice because, you told us about what happened 27 years ago. Well, less than 27 years ago, but you told us about that. Well, even actually 27 years ago, because you told us that, you had to deal with a situation where you had to fight to have your son, right? And so, like, you've been dealing with this for quite some time. And then it just has been, and of course, it sounds like you've also been working on your personal development throughout these years, which makes you that much more internally powerful, right? And so I just know that the impact that you're going to be making on these women that you're going to touch is going to be an incredible ripple effect, and it's going to make a tremendous difference, really is. So I'm excited to hear the outcome. I mean, it's really cool to be at the beginning when you're just launching. So, I am excited to hear the outcome, and hopefully you'll come back on the show, like, like in a year or something, and let us know what's going on, and like how's it going, all that good stuff. Because we love to hear successes. We love that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I do, that is the intention, is like you said, create that ripple effect to, create the further generations to come, and hopefully my, great grandkids who I probably will never meet, are going to be impacted by what I teach and what I, do and bring to the world. And I'm excited for that. And follow me on social, and that's a good way to kind of follow the journey as well. I'm on Facebook. I spend most of my time on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. I don't do Twitter. But those are the three. If you just look for Patti Handy, you'll find me. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. So the tribe has heard, and they will answer the call for sure. For sure.
There you go.
Awesome. What an incredible conversation. I really appreciate it. We're at that part of the show where we do our tradition, and that is fill in the blanks. Are you ready for fill in the blanks?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. All right. The first one is, if I am fearless, I will
do anything and everything.
Nice. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
To me, fearless freedom means, gosh, so many things. Choices, impact, fulfillment, bravery. I mean, those are just a few things that come to mind.
Yes. And then last but not least, my battle cry is.
My battle cry. Well, I can't cuss on the podcast. So I'm going to be careful with this. Watch me go. Watch me just. Yeah, I'm going to be careful with my words here.
No worries.
Watch me roar.
Love it. So awesome. Thank you for sharing. Remind us again how they can reach you by spelling out your podcast. I mean, your website.
Website? Yes, it's PattiHandy.com, and just click on the Minding Her Money link, or you can go directly to mindinghermoney.com. It'll take you to the same place, to that roadmap. You download short training video and then book a call with me to learn more about the program, and just be on the email list so that as I have updates and trainings, and I'll be doing some free training soon, you can get those announcements and jump on.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again for
Thank
taking
you
time
so
out of your
much.
busy day to spend with
Yep.
us here at the Fearless Freedom Tribe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you as well. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.